fitness in your life can help. It'll help prevent things that are diseases in the future. It'll help prevent development of things that get worse. It's never too late to start.
This is the Biz Reveal, and I am your host, Craig Sawyer. This week's episode brought to you by Sawyer Health Solutions. Questions about your health insurance plan? Do you have the coverage that you need? Confused as to what is better for you, PPO, HMO, or EPO? Are your doctors in network? With access to all health coverage plans available in 31 states, Sawyer Health Solutions looks into all options that are available, including private plans that are not on the marketplace exchange, and you only pay for what you need. If you don't currently have health coverage because of the rising premiums and annual deductibles, or maybe you have a policy now, but you want to know if there are better options available that may cost you less, contact Sawyer Health Solutions for a free quote. You don't have to wait until November. There are new health insurance plans available all year long. Call Sawyer Health Solutions at 239-677-9877 or visit their website at sawyerhealthsolutions.com. Let Sawyer Health Solutions work with you to find the best plan for your specific situation. This week's guest, Master Ingrid Ewing. Ingrid is the owner of Star Taekwondo and Wellness Center. She is a 6th degree black belt in Taekwondo, a certified personal trainer, certified group exercise instructor, certified Zumba instructor, women's fitness specialist, senior fitness specialist, has an MBA, speaks 3 languages, and has also traveled to 23 countries. Ingrid Ewing also medaled numerous times at the Taekwondo National Championships, both in Olympics Sparring and Forms, including being gold medal national champion in Forms, and has been a successful coach at the state and national levels. In the last 3 years, she has developed fitness golf clinics for multiple golf clubs and has specialized in working with senior adults and students with battling Parkinson's disease. Ingrid Ewing has a passion for helping other people of all ages achieve health and fitness goals. You can reach Ingrid at Star Taekwondo and Wellness Center at 239-267-5425 or at the website at startkdwellness.com. This is the Biz Reveal with this week's guest, Ingrid Ewing, and finding time for physical fitness. So when you started, what got you interested in, like, especially because you started in the fitness thing, or was it the Taekwondo thing that you really first started in?
It was a mixture. So as a tiny, tiny child, my dad was in it. So I started.
In Taekwondo?
And in Taekwondo,
okay.
I only did about 1 belt rank and immediately realized I'm pretty gifted at gymnastics.
Okay.
So I competitively trained and competed in gymnastics for quite a while, then a little bit into dance. It was a little bit older in high school that I started prioritizing self-defense, leaving for college and needing to know that my parents would be at least at ease a little bit, that I was leaving home and going far. When it comes to the fitness side, though, I've always been in sports. So from gymnastics into dancing, straight into even middle school and high school, volleyball and track and field. I went to college for track and field as a pole vaulter and hurdler for them. And then I coached it while I was getting my master's degree in business. I was a grad assistant for the athletic department at Mercer University to coach track and field. And that's where, as I was studying business, I started for the first time realizing all this fitness information, all this Taekwondo information, I merged it into what I love doing. So I started
You naturally morphed.
Yes.
Like it just happened.
Just my passion turned into my career and stayed my passion.
Which is pretty cool.
So I love what I do every day.
Yeah. So when you got your MBA, right? Once, I don't know, you're in your low 20s, mid 20s, I'm assuming at that point.
Yes.
And then you decided to, what'd you do at that point?
As soon as I graduated, I came back and started running my dad's powder coating company and opened my first martial arts school, my first Taekwondo school. So I had at least a day job in case it didn't work out. It was my first try at it. And used, I got to have the opportunity to bring my brother in too. So he and I opened our first one together. Cool. Yeah.
Even the family, somebody you obviously trust and can rely on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my dad had done it, my brother has done it, and I do it too. So we just did it together.
Okay.
So that worked out. From there, I was involved in the next school, and then now I'm on my own here, opening this one. I'm a newlywed too, so my husband's been a huge help.
Congratulations.
In the details. Thank you. Of getting this one going. So I'm very excited.
When you first started that first one, because that's kind of what the podcast is about. When you new business owners, or maybe even just business owners who are veteran, but you still wear a lot of hats. But when you first start, even now with this location, but especially when you first started, and you're wearing every hat, right? You're starting the business, you're doing the marketing, you're doing the accounting, you're doing everything, and you're wearing all those hats. How did you find time to fit the fitness part into that busy schedule?
Well, in that moment of time, I was still a competitor in Taekwondo. So basically, we would run all of our programs, teach all the classes, and then the last class of the day was our training too. So we would teach while we trained. So I stayed a high-level competitive athlete in that national senior level for at least 7 years. And so it was kind of built-in workouts because we all had goals of what we wanted to compete in, what was the next competition we were preparing for. So once I finally retired from that, it did take me about 2 full years to really figure out, as a normal citizen, not an elite athlete trying to be on an Olympic team, a national team, and that I hadn't even tried until after I left, a college level scholar athlete, constantly having workouts taken home for summers. And there was never a time that I didn't have goals and people giving me workouts. And so it took almost 2 years really to figure out what it is I like doing for workouts, which I think is one of a big important thing, not only for your career, but also in your fitness side. You have to just try a bunch of different things to really figure it out and give it a try. Not, I showed up once and I hated it.
So
it
just
needs
making
to
sure
be
that
more than once.
What you're doing is obviously good for you, but that you actually enjoy doing it too.
Yes, because you can try one, let's say a spinning class. You can try one spinning class and absolutely hate it. They play the music super loud. They don't guide on what you're doing. You have no idea. But then the very next time you go with a different instructor, different playlist, different drills, all of a sudden you're like, this is the best thing I've ever experienced. So you really have to give any workout you do more than one try. But most of all, for sure, starting the business, any business for the very, very first time, I had to keep reminding myself to be patient with my own self, with my own learning curve, because every single day is not perfect. So at some point, something's going to go wrong. So every day you're learning something on how to troubleshoot it. Even just, I ran out of paper towels in our commercial, not something you could just go to Walmart and get more paper towels. So all of a sudden it's like, how do I even order that? I don't know. We've never tried. So starting from scratch is always a moment where you need to forgive yourself and you need to know when to shut off. Because the problem with me in general, and I'm sure and I've met many business owners that are like this, they're very self-driven. And so they don't go home and leave it. You keep going.
Which is
constantly.
A gift and a curse.
It is. You feel very efficient, but you never really shut off. And that's something that having children taught me. And that I didn't realize when I first opened my business. I wasn't married yet. I didn't have children. So it really changed the family dynamic and what I needed to do to shut off. It took practice. Because
and I think you're right, though, because it is just the mindset of the business owner, or the mindset of the entrepreneur. And I think we're all, speaking generally, of course, but myself included, we're all kind of control freaks. I know I am. I'd like to have control over everything. It's my business, and I feel like if it's going to fail, I want it to fail because of me. If it's going to succeed, I want it to succeed because of me. I think but putting that pressure on yourself, that's what's hard to turn off when you go home. You're like, oh, but I got to do this. I got to do that. Yes.
Especially now in the time of electronics, you can bring it home.
Yeah.
It's on your cell phone.
Yeah.
It's on your laptop. It used to be the whole floppy disk, save it, move it home.
Take it home.
Or then it turned into those, the memory sticks and thumb drives. Yeah. And so we used to move with those. And then if you don't feel like it, you don't plug in. And not everyone was blessed to have computers and stuff at home to even follow.
Right.
Now your phone is the computer and you can quickly email things, order things.
And it's good and bad too, because before, if you wanted to do that work stuff, you had to be at the office. Yeah. So once you left the office, you're like, oh, office, that's a 30-minute commute. I don't have to go all the way back to do that tonight. I can do it tomorrow. And you would just put it off and forget about it. Now you can go right to your phone and do it. So I think that's another reason why it's hard to turn off.
Yes.
So I want to go back to the whole fitness thing, because that's kind of what we're here to talk about, right? And I am very guilty of this. I want to get in better shape. I'm not in horrible shape, but I'm not in good shape. But I'm so busy with the different things with work involved, things that I got to do from day to day and the stresses I got to do from day to day. Finding the time in the day is hard. And I think that if I can find the time at the beginning of the day, I can do the fitness thing, do my workout, half hour, 60 minutes, whatever it is, get it over with, and then I can focus on work the rest of the day. But I have absolutely no energy, and there's no way I want to sweat really, really hard when I first wake up in the morning. So for people like me, what would you recommend when it comes to the fitness part and being able to fit it into your schedule? Does it matter what time of day you do it? Is there one time of day over another that your biological thing starts really kicking in that I need to know about?
Well, if you're getting extremely fit, extremely specific, you could find times that might be better than others. But for the general public, general business owners, you just want to make sure you do it.
Okay. Doing it's more important than the time.
Doesn't matter when.
Right.
Just stop skipping it. One of the biggest things that I try to help people with as a personal trainer, with not just owners of businesses, but CEOs, people in charge of big, stressful jobs, is to set it as an appointment. Figure out what will work for you and try a few days of each. So some people say there's absolutely no time whatsoever. So I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. I'm going to do my workout. Then I'll get the kids ready or get myself ready for work and head out. So that way I have time. But some people don't find that sustainable. You can do it once, but then you can't last your 12 hours of your job or your 10 hours of your job, plus come home, plus still take care of the family if there's extra people in the family. Others love it at lunch. They've kind of worked out with their jobs that they can take a full hour. So they immediately change and work out, do at least 30 minutes. Then they have 15 minutes to cool off, maybe clean up, shower if they can, or whatever.
Because it is tough. I used to do that. It is tough to put the tie back on
when you're still sweating, especially in Florida, and most of our bodies, once you start working out more, you tend to sweat more, which is a great healthy way your body's working properly. But it's very annoying when you're trying to get fancy clothes back on and you can't stop sweating, and you already showered and you still can't stop sweating. So that is something that you need to keep in mind. Every job is very different. So those that need to be back in business suits may want to actually do it before or after. It doesn't work out as well. For those that work from home digitally, or have more flexible hours, or just work in a different environment, like they do work outside, looking at different construction sites or whatever, then the clothes they're wearing are different. They're built for sweating. It's okay. So it just depends kind of your work environment. And the last option, of course, would be after work. For me personally, I could never go home first. If I go home first, it's done. I have home responsibilities. You're already thinking dinner. As soon as you sit down, you're like, oh, it feels so good. I don't want to get up. I want to watch a TV show and find
so you got to go straight to the gym.
So I personally never go home first. I need to immediately, okay, I'm done. It's 5 by 5:30. I have a class. I better get there. So sometimes that was helpful for some people that have a hard time making themselves go to the gym or something like that after, it's helpful to belong to a gym or belong somewhere that keeps you accountable. And secondly, that has a schedule that you're going to show up for. So you can't be late to that 5:30 class, because even if you're supposed to, I'm sorry, I got to go. I got an appointment at 5:30.
So treat it just like it's a work appointment.
Absolutely. That is the key. You have to set it in your time schedule as an appointment. So those are some of the options. Some people I've heard, I've worked with that actually do go home, get the kids ready, eat a little bit with them, and then at late night, go back out and work out. And that works for them. For me, it hypes me up. Then it takes
an hour or two,
and I'm still totally buzzing. And
that's what I'm thinking. Like if I go out, bedtime for me is around 10 p.m. Mm-hmm. If I go work out at 8 or 8:30, is that an individual thing that it affects different people different ways? Because I would think now I'm racing, man. Now I got my energy. I'm ready to go. And now I got to go to sleep. That just doesn't feel like. Yes,
for personalities like yours and energy levels like yours, then that would not be a good idea.
Okay.
For people like me as well. The more I do at night, then I'm very, very more awake. For others with issues like restless leg syndrome, with maybe diabetes, things like that you're not doing huge heavy dinners and you're eating it a little earlier, things like that. It actually alleviates and helps them rest better, to not have restless legs, to not have some, neurological issues or some kind of, I guess, the different things that the nerves kind of shoot up your legs, different names for different diseases. But sometimes it helps them rest better.
To do that later workout.
Just do it right before bed.
Oh.
Do a 20-minute workout, 30-minute workout. Because also people with those ailments can't do as high level that would get your adrenaline pumping so high that you can't go back to sleep. So it's just enough to get a little bit of a sweat going, get the last bit of energy out so they can sleep better. Some people need that because they can't let go of the stress of the day. And the positive endorphins that exercise gives you and the de-stressing that it actually chemically works in your system is very helpful to do a little bit of workout at the end of the day. But it doesn't work for everybody. So it's very important everyone try it. Just try a few mornings, try a few afternoons, try a few nights. For me, I know I absolutely love morning workouts, but if I do them consistently, I am falling asleep like at 8 o'clock, just sitting there trying to eat dinner. It really zaps my end of day energy. So for me, mid-morning
that may not
better.
Be a bad thing though, right? I mean, that way you can, because one of the things I spoke with in one of the past episodes of the podcast was the fact that your mind is just going crazy when you go to bed. And like, I'm one of those people, I'll lay there for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes I want that because I'm trying to sort through some problems, and that's my downtime. I don't have to worry about the kids or the dogs or the wife, the cars or any of that stuff. It's my time. I can think through those problems. But there's a lot of times when my mind just won't turn off. And so if you're doing those workouts early in the day, and if you're one of those people like you, where you just start feeling drained around 8 p.m., that might be a good thing. That might help you fall asleep, in the evenings a little quicker.
Right. So for me, I balance it. I do Monday, Wednesday, Friday around 7:30 or 8. I'm already doing some kind of workout. And I am pretty tired by the end of those days. And then Tuesday, Thursday, at the end of the day is when I do mine around 5:30. Because they're classes I teach here. So people come to them. So there's accountability that I have to show up because
Sure.
I happen to have that for my job. But others, can keep that as an accountability just to show up to a class. But those are the days that definitely I don't immediately fall asleep. Like, it's okay to fall asleep by 10. I'm not already drowsy by 8. But I absolutely cleared my mind. Like, it refreshes your brain to be able to be a little more clear and sometimes distanced from the problem. Sometimes you're so in it for so long, stressing over it, that you need that distance. You need that ability to do something that's challenging. So for some people, distance training does it for them. Long walks, long jogs, steady pace, and they just run through their day in their head. They run through problems through their head, and it helps. By the time they're done, they're like, I think I have solutions for this. I think I feel better, just kind of. But for others like me, it's helpful to go into things that require a lot of thinking, like boot camp classes. It has stations. So each station I have to remember what I'm doing, how many of it, and to do the right technique. Or classes like Zumba, where there's a pattern that the teacher's showing or that I'm showing as the teacher to memorize as you go. And when we repeat back to the course, I better know what I'm supposed to do. So there's no way I can completely be stressing over work if I'm in the middle
you're so focused on
this class. So
okay. Is that part of it? Is that part of the goal of those classes, to be able to occupy your mind with something, or is it just kind of just how it goes?
It's the wonderful side effect.
Okay.
Because the whole point of any fitness class is definitely not only to challenge your cardiovascular system, which is the breathing side of things, your heart strength and lungs, strengthening the muscles and tendons and joints through the slight impact, through the movement. But it's also the cognitive training. It's everything that has to do with your mind connecting with your body. And when those get really out of sync, when you sit a lot, stare at computers, and just think, it sometimes doesn't synchronize in a good balance with your body. So that's another thing of why, and I have a few friends that are also business owners, and it's very important that all of us at some point take a break. It's much easier for me in general in the world of fitness to get my fitness workouts in because I teach it. It's part of my day. So at least 1 to 2 classes a day, I'm doing the class. And I get to design them so they, as if I were a person attending each day, so that there's a balance. So a cardio day mixed then with a workout that's a strength training day, back to a cardio day, more of a toning day, and with a stretching day. It's good to have those kind of balances. And I like the types of stretching or yoga or Pilates, the slower ones, at the end of the day. I'm sorry, at the end of the week is what I'm trying to say. You could put it at whatever time in the day. And I prefer that. Some people prefer it on the Monday just to get things flowing. I prefer hardcore at the beginning and de-stress before the weekend at the end.
Well, that was a question I wanted to ask you too, is obviously there's different workouts for different types of people or for different goals, right? I mean, if you're wanting to lose weight, it's going to be one type of workout as opposed to just, trying to get your heart rate going or, more of a meditation type workout. If you're just a person who wants to get moving and get some type of physical activity going from day to day, and let's say, the average person, I don't know, has 30 to 45 minutes a day to spend doing essays at lunch break or something like that. What types of exercises should they focus on? Not for losing weight, but just movement wise and getting heart rate up and just getting out of the chair, stop looking at the computer. What types of things should they be doing?
Well, in general, every person is unique, but you want to mimic the movements that would be natural to the human body. We were built to move. We were never built to be sedentary. Anyone who sits for a living usually ends up with some kind of back problems, a little bit heavier around the waist, things like that. We weren't built for that. So it's very important you just move. So as much as you can tolerate, you start with a recumbent bike. Even people in their 80s and 90s that walk with a walker can still do recumbent specialty ones like New Steps or other types of brands. But anything that mimics walking would be a start. So either those recumbent bikes, the New Steps, if you can actually walk on your own, start with walking. Because many people right away start too much too fast. They immediately say, okay, I used to run 20 years ago, so I'm going to get back into shape and run. And then they'll run even just 10 minutes. And they already have joint pain, ankle pain, knee pain. My right hip hurts, my left hip.
And that deters them from wanting to do anything.
And that's it. They stop. And it's very important sometimes when you're getting started again to speak with someone who knows. Most gyms have free personal training the very first time. Most people have at least somebody they know that might do more fitness than they do. It's very important they ask that because there's a difference. When you're new, you don't know it. But there's a difference between the pain you feel because you're finally moving something you haven't moved in a long time, or those recovering from injuries, it's the scar tissue breaking down for the first time and you haven't pushed to that limit. So there is a pain that comes with that, but it's just breaking that down and recovering into full mobility versus you overdid it, you're injuring yourself, stop
Right.
and go slower. So sometimes I think people hesitate because they're not sure how to start.
But like
I would
you said
always
at the beginning,
say start slow,
Start.
do something though.
Yeah.
Because the biggest issue is not doing it, waiting for the next day. But like I've said with most everybody, just because you eat one good salad and eat junk food the rest of the day doesn't mean now you're healthy, yay. And the other way around, just because you got up on Monday and did your workout but didn't do anything else the rest of the week doesn't mean, oh, that's okay, I did my fitness. It's not enough. Your body needs a little bit every day. It's wonderful how we have technology now with our Apple Watches and little Fitbits and Garmin trackers. Even our phone in our pocket can track our steps, So it's very important that everyone, you can even look it up on most health websites. You can see for your age and your current weight, what would be the recommended amount of steps for the day, which means just walk. And some people love that because they really legitimately during, let's say, tax season as an accountant, they do not have time. They will sunrise to sunset, they're on the computer, they sleep and they return because there are deadlines and things like that. It won't be all year round. But those are the moments where you'll see people when they're already setting goals, they'll find ways to get those steps in because it's being measured.
It's nice because it actually makes it more aware. Like I didn't get it when that stuff first came out because, hey, walk, it's just a reminder, but it's that reminder that sometimes, and I do this all the time. I'm like, I need to do this stretch because I have some lower back issues and I have to stretch every day to relieve pain. And I'm trying to rebuild, reshape everything. And sometimes you just get started on work and then the next thing you know, it's 7 p.m., and the whole day has gone by. So those little reminders that are on your watch or on your phone, it's like, oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Let me do that. So it is kind of nice that we have that.
And one of the things I've learned a lot from working at the retirement communities is that on these nicer retirement communities here in Florida, we have very wealthy or successful people with a lot of wisdom that in business that have retired. And one thing that 100% of them have prioritized is their health. They know that no matter how much money they made, many of their friends, if they didn't prioritize their health because they kept smoking even after they learned it wasn't okay, because in their generation, it was still unknown to be horrible. Things like that. All of them prioritize their fitness. It's one of the things that so many of that population are the most consistent. So as a personal trainer, I can work with, younger people, high school or college. They reach their one goal, they're done. Because life constantly changes for the younger ones. It's very hard to understand because they're moving from which career, which class. Now the whole semester of classes changes as a college student. Everything changes. And then the adults in the middle, the 30s, 40s, 50s, even into 60s, career is such a big thing. Over 50% of the families are single parent homes. There are kids involved now and, a whole different multitude of versions of families. And it changes things on how to find extra time for yourself when truly, as a parent, the instinct is to give everything forward and not back. But even on an airplane, you have to put your mask on before you give your air breathing mask to your child.
If your cup's empty, you can't fill any other cups.
Yes. And so it's very important if just to prioritize that kind of time. So that's a wisdom that I learned early on because of working with that senior age group, that absolutely, even though in my mind it's get more money, find wealth so my kid can go to college, so I can retire and travel if I want. And like the goals you see, and they'll look at me and say, well, if you're not healthy, you can't even get up and travel. If you're not healthy, your kid's going to want to be your caregiver and stay home. Not necessarily. They're just kind of throwing it in my face like this is not the most sound wisdom you think. It's important to be healthy first in order to build wealth, in order to build wisdom, in order to build the rest. And so that's something I have brought into the businesses I've owned as I go, which is why we're talking about why fitness is so important in the world of business and in you as an entrepreneur trying to develop your goals for hopefully you're doing a business in your passion, but it still needs to be with you first, because you as the business owner are the business's biggest asset. Right. You're it. If you get sick, it becomes an extremely stressful
You have to take care of your assets.
Yes. And so if you prioritize the building, the cars, the company this, the company that, and you don't prioritize you as the number one asset of your company, then everything the rest falls apart. Yeah. You become the weak link. And so that's something also that's very important during these times, specifically during a pandemic, is that we really as business owners have to figure out ways that we can stay as safe as possible, yet still survive in a pandemic without putting others at risk. Just because I need to feed my family doesn't mean I need to put yours in harm. Sure. So it's very important to find that balance, find the most secure, safe way for the whole civilization, not just your little pod of your household.
How does the Taekwondo fit into that? When you said that's more like a mental state, is that where the Taekwondo kind of fits in? Because I know that the disciplines that are in the martial arts can contribute to your well-being because of your state of mind and where you focus.
I think so, yes. Definitely, in general, being an athlete, that you learn how to set goals that you actually write down with a time frame, with specifics, and then adding martial arts on top of it with the discipline, the self-control, the different parts that help you with focus. Those for me have helped very much. If anything, would specifically self-control, because your instinct when something bad is happening is to, I guess everyone has a flight or a panic mode, but what you do with that massive adrenaline dump when it happens, when you're in a car accident, you'll feel it. If you've ever had a traumatic moment, you'll feel it. It's where you're shocked, then your brain caught up, and then what do you do with all that energy? Some people, if they do nothing, they just shake and shake and shake because the adrenaline's flowing through. It's your survival mode. Your body knows what to do, but it helps you keep your mind with your body as it's happening. So you are actually a reactionary person versus do nothing. Yes. So many times when I teach self-defense, that's one of the things we talk about the most. Do something. It might not be exactly self-defense number one for green belt or, the teenagers' self-defense moves for the Girl Scouts that I teach. It might not be perfect, but do something. Sitting there doing nothing will be the most harm because we can't hear you. So we don't know if there's a stress. There are very critical moments at the very beginning if you're being kidnapped or taken or attacked or anything horrible, that there are critical moments at the very beginning as they're assessing you, as the assailant's assessing the victim, and as you, a victim, before they really have full control, can do things. Just yell, say something, scratch, bite. They're all the rules out the window, but do something. So one of the things, especially working with children, has taught me that the innocence of the children being more gullible that way, more innocent that way, it's very helpful to be in Taekwondo here in general or in any martial art, because it teaches them to react when there's a change. So when we spar, which is an Olympic sport in Taekwondo, it's a sport. It's not, let me teach my kid how to fight on the street. It's an Olympic sport with points, but it helps them learn when someone's coming, how to get out of the way quickly. I didn't attack you, but I'm just trying to move.
And with repetition, you have that muscle memory too, so that when that moment does come, it's more likely you will do the right thing. Not guaranteed, but muscle memory wise,
yes.
I know we did that in the military. Everything's just over and over and over and over and over again. And it just becomes a way of life. So hopefully when that moment comes, you don't even have to think about it. It just kind of happens because you've been trained for so long and you just know that that's what you need to do.
Yeah. And it definitely works without even knowing. Because I've had friends, let's say, in a crowd or somewhere where it's more difficult to hear if you're going out dancing or something. If someone grabs my wrist, let's say we're changing directions or whatever, I instantly reverse it and get out. Like there's no, I didn't think about it. I didn't feel it tagged, but if someone grabs hard, I already got out before I realized, because of that repetition, that muscle memory. And exactly like that is what is so important about fitness. The muscle memory of repeating and repeating and repeating different workouts, using that bicep, using those triceps, using your legs. Then that way at some point your recovery will be faster. And that happens in every stage. For example, me as a woman, when I was pregnant, I had still worked out until I medically wasn't allowed to anymore, but I already was pregnant, and I still, as long as I kept a certain heart rate, I could still work out. And so I stayed at that. And so I recovered after way faster too. So after baby, you can recover back to your normal weight, to your normal life. I'm not saying anyone's is the same, because I'm super blessed that way. That's not that way for anyone identically. It's all unique. However, the concept is same for the seniors. The more of them that were fit and they have an accident or fall, or they trip, or they slipped on something, they recover from those injuries at a faster rate because they were fit than those who weren't. And those falls can be detrimental. And sometimes they never walk again. And those are very sad moments. So it's very important to learn from those mistakes from others without having to do them all ourselves, and prioritize fitness in our lives all the time. So like I said, for me, fitness has been an extremely important part, just to keep my mind clear and focused, for me to be able to have a better attitude throughout my whole long day. And for me in this job with fitness and working with children in Taekwondo and adults, in any spectrum of fitness, if I don't have a positive attitude, that energy also flows into the people I interact with. So any client you have, any people you interact with throughout the day that are your vendors, or the people that are supporting you in general as volunteers. Some companies have lots of volunteers, especially hospitals and places like that. If your attitude isn't very positive, it affects the team. It affects everyone. And so that's something that's wonderful about fitness in general. After your workout, you feel awesome. And so it's great to be able to spread that forward.
It is. I just noticed our time is out for today's podcast. It goes fast. Can you let everybody know where they can get a hold of you if they have questions, they want advice, maybe they want to sign up for a Taekwondo class or one of your fitness classes? Just let everybody know where they can find you at.
Yes, so I'm Ingrid Ewing, and I own Star Taekwondo and Wellness Center at 6835 International Center Boulevard in Fort Myers. Phone number here is 239-267-5425, and I'll be happy to help you if you need personal training, if you need any kind of fitness class, if you are, battling the disease of Parkinson's disease. We have boxing and some training here for you specifically. And anyone who wants to learn some self-defense and work on their Taekwondo skills, we are absolutely open for that. So come see me.
Awesome. Ingrid, thank you so much for joining us today. Guys, this is the Biz Reveal. Thank you for joining us for another episode. You can find us at the Biz Reveal podcast website at thebizreveal.com. Or if you listen to podcasts, go to any of the podcast apps out there. Will be on your favorite one. And check out the YouTube channel as well for the video versions. Thanks again for joining us. Until next time.